In this case, you are asked to analyze the commitment process in two stories. The two stories have parallels, they have some differences. In one instance, it's a story of a beat cop. The other is the story of a company accountant. In our discussion of commitment, we talked about the importance of understanding that there is a commitment process that generates beliefs. As I commented in the lecture, Solancic really drives this home in that particular reading. The beliefs that are generated can be positive from the standpoint of the company, negative from the standpoint of the company, positive from the standpoint of society, negative from the standpoint of society. It's important to understand that this notion of this commitment process is the generation of the belief. We have a tendency to talk about commitment, by which we generally mean a belief in a positive sense, but it's really important to understand that one of the big challenges we have in leadership is very often heading off commitments. We can see beliefs going in a negative direction. We don't want to drive beliefs. We really need to have a very well-tuned kind of sense mechanism for understanding commitment and really doing commitment much more purposefully than most people do. In this case, there are two anonymous stories. And the beat cop story is a newspaper confessional detailing the work pressures that led to crimes while in uniform. This is a case that I've used for many years as the standalone case. I think it's a really powerful story, but I always felt it had shortcomings because it didn't really give people the understanding or the direct linkage to a business case. And so I've rewritten this so that I still use the kind of fact base of a case called Making of a Bad Cop. But I really want to compare that to a story it's a true story. It's based on a Utah-based business. And it's the story of an accountant who is, heads down a personal and professional journey down a path of compromised ethics that leads to the commission of a felony. Both stories are about incremental commitment. They are very small steps, and I'd like you to really start to comprehend that what is happening here are quite small steps. We see an adjustment to beliefs. We see a rationalization process. What is that rationalization process? And I think there are parallels in the cases, and there are a few differences as well. Some of the motivations are different, and so it produces different rationalizations. They're not the same rationalization. At the end of the case, we're really confronted with the accountant's options. And you can see there's a break in the commitment. There's this realization of, oh my God, what have I done? And what can the person do at this point in time? What does the commitment mean? There actually is a component of this that there is behavior that you can't get out of. And so, what happens next is ultimately the question you're asked to answer in the actions. But the analysis part of the case, you should very much focus on this incremental process and how it unfolds in the two cases. Though again, focus on the incremental commitment. How did that come to happen? I think you'll immediately see the rationalization that Aronson talks about. And then there's some opportunity to compare and contrast in this instant. And when you get to the recommendations, you really want to focus on the case I ask you to focus on. What are the accountant's options at the end of the case?